I want to talk here about the issue of whether the employer has an obligation to investigate a human rights complaint and what are the consequences if the employer does not investigate or does not take a prudent investigation. There's nothing in the Ontario legislation or any other statute that mandates an obligation to investigate a human rights complaint. That being said, all the cases have come to the same conclusion that the employer does indeed, as part of its obligation in the human rights regime, to take proper and fair steps to investigate the complaint. So the issue then becomes, what happens if the employer violates that obligation? And there's a couple of issues that can flow from that. But the first issue that comes up is, well, is that violation, is that an actionable claim under human rights law independently of the matter being complained about? So let's suppose a woman says, well, my office neighbor is trying to propose dates to me all the time. I find it very frustrating. And the company then does not investigate that complaint. The issue is that in itself a violation, even if the underlying complaint of saying Harry was hassling me was not proven? And the answer seems to be yes. The human rights cases went back and forth on this, but there was a recent decision in Ontario interpreting the human rights legislation by a civil court judge who basically said, well, the failure to investigate the complaint can lead to a poisoned work environment and hence is actionable in itself. So the short answer is yes, it is actionable. In that case, there was an award made of $55,000 for a poisoned work environment. And again, that would apply whether or not the underlying complaint was proven. The other bigger issue, as I mentioned in the sexual harassment video, is that an investigation, particularly of ongoing harassment, such as sexual, it doesn't have to be sexual, the failure to investigate can lead to incremental damages in that a proper and prudent investigation would have likely brought an end to the adverse conduct, and the failure to investigate, therefore, led to a continuum of that conduct. And the one case I mentioned in the sexual harassment area eventually gave rise to a claim of some $700,000. So there were other factors involved as well, but this was one of them. So the end result is, yeah, there is a duty to investigate, and two, there can be an independent claim made for the failure to investigate, independently of success of the underlying complaint. And thirdly, the failure to investigate can lead to an enhancement of the damage claim for which the employer is responsible. So there you have it. Be smart and be wise.